Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are watching the video by Will E. What is really the hardest class to level in hardcore World of Warcraft? And we're preparing ourselves to play the hardcore and official servers. So this guy doing pretty good videos. His link in the description. Also, my name is PLK. Let's react and watch. It will be fun.
The hardcore challenge sets players on a long journey from levels 1 to 60 without dying a single time. It's definitely a marathon and not a sprint, and one that tests your game knowledge extensively as you progress. Still, some classes are seen as far easier options to complete the hardcore challenge on, whilst others can prove difficult for even the most seasoned of players. But which class is really the most challenging to hit 60?
I mean, I doubt that it will be not mage. I mean, mage is the simplest, right?
On. Well, we'll all have ideas based upon what should be hardest or how we find each class to play, but there has been an add-on created that lends some numbers to answer this question. I've referenced it a few times during the...
I didn't know that. So it is a statistics here. So the World of Warcraft era hardcore add-on which provides UI blah blah blah. Looking not okay. It have the does log data. 50k entries. Okay.
The hardcore class series videos because I think it's really interesting. The add-on is called Deathlog. It displays tons of information for hardcore players, such as heat maps for where players are having issues in the game, the most deadly mobs in Azeroth, and of course numbers to assess on average how well each class is performing in the hardcore challenge. With the PTR out now, a lot of players are going to be moving over to that in anticipation of the official servers. So this snapshot I took on June 21st should give a fairly good impression of data collected during the unofficial servers. There are just over 80,000 characters logged in total, and we will mainly be assessing difficulty through
80,000. I mean,
average level, which is how far the average person gets before making a fatal error, as well as the probability of reaching the later level milestones. I'll also try and interpret the data a little bit rather than just saying which class percentage-wise has the most 60s, because that really does not tell the full story. So today, with data in hand, we're going to go over what statistically is the easiest to the hardest class to level in hardcore WoW. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor, HelloFresh. HelloFresh is a meal kit delivery service that sends you all the ingredients you need to make delicious home-cooked meals right in your own kitchen. The recipes are easy to follow and the ingredients are pre-measured and pre-cut, so there is no waste. In addition to being convenient and delicious, HelloFresh can save you money. Studies have shown that people who use and stick to meal kits save an average of $100 per month on their grocery bills. This is because you're less...
Albion Online es un MMORPG no lineal.
MMORPG, because I'm living in Spain, Guys, please subscribe and like. It's like just down there. Because, I need money for YouTube Premium, please.
Fabricada por los
less likely to overbuy ingredients or order takeouts when you have HelloFresh meals ready to make. What I like about HelloFresh is that it's not just eating better, but it's improving your real-life cooking skill as well. You'll probably find that making things taste nice was a lot simpler than you imagined. So if you're looking for a way to make cooking easier, healthier, and more sustainable, then HelloFresh is just what you are looking for. You can sign up today and start enjoying delicious home-cooked meals in no time. Use my link or go to hellofresh.com and use code POGWILLYJUL50 for 50% off plus free shipping. And once you click, my description will live update to count the purchases. Many thanks to HelloFresh for the sponsor today. Let's get back to WoW. Starting off though, statistically the strongest class to take on the hardcore challenge with is none other than the...
Told you so.
The Mage. Ranking as the 4th most played class with around 10,800 deaths logged, the Mage is a powerful and versatile class with a toolkit that is able to take on nearly any situation.
I mean, in vanilla, mages they are like killing with polymorph and everything.
Mages have the second highest average level of 14.5, but their real strength shows when it comes to hitting the higher level milestones, with mages boasting some of the best percentage chances to achieve levels 20, 30 and 40. Around 1 in 5 mages make it to level 20, that is a lot higher than any other class. And as we'll mention,
I will say that my statistic on the hardcore is like seven characters, and the highest level was a hunter, level 16. So
a lot throughout this video,
but I didn't play mage.
The early levels are the ones that really matter to get through cleanly. Your class is always at its weakest when it's missing its core abilities that you rely on for damage or defenses. And whilst other classes have to kite early or engage in melee combat, mages sit 30 yards away and spam Frostbolt. Early game their defensive options are very limited, but Frost Nova is an incredible tool for escaping several enemies at the same time. And when you hit 20, you get Blink, which is arguably one of, if not the best escape tools in the game. At 30, assuming you're Frost, which you probably are, you get Ice Block. At 40, Ice Barrier. And of course you have Cold Snap to reset all of your cooldowns in the Frost tree. You can even take the far riskier but much faster route of AoE farming too if you want to. You get
and also you can't miss. It could be resisted, right? I'm not right. You could miss with a spell, but it's like resisted or miss. With the melee, it could be like defense, parry, and all this stuff. So it's more simple. That's why mages can like kill the mobs 4 level, 5 level higher.
Get free food and water, teleports to capital cities, mana gems. The list goes on. This class is just really stacked in
portals, free food, free water. Come on, man.
Classic. I've said it in the past, DK was not the first hero class in World of Warcraft. The mage in Vanilla WoW was, and in the hardcore challenge, once again, it shows why. Second on the ranking power-wise is the second to least popular class going by number of deaths logged.
It's obvious. It's a healer, right? With bubbles and everything, so you have plenty of stuff to do, but it's boring, man. I was the main priest in the vanilla WoW, and it was so boring to level up solo. The dungeons and all this stuff, yeah, that's cool. You're a priest, you're a healer, and only you need to pick priest only for that, because otherwise it's so boring, man.
Priest, who Clothwear is at the top as the best options, maybe not what you expect.
And I will be honest with you, I didn't play the Shadow Priest. I played the Holy Priest because of the raids, etc. And then I started raiding, and then I started to do all this stuff. With the Priest, it's still boring. I don't know, man. I like to play healers and tanks. Tanks, you need to know the game. Like, you need to understand the game. That's why like Priest is the best option. You just need to be the good healer, which is okay. It's not so easy, but not so complicated. And with Priest, I don't know, it's like a little bit boring
to see here, but I am a big believer in the priest being far better than people give it credit for. A big advantage of the priest, similar to the mage, is that they have a very good chance of getting through those early levels. However, unlike the mage, priest kind of unlock the majority of their toolkit that will carry them to level 60 at a very early stage. Priest is all about that priest shield, mind blast, shadow word pain, wand, repeat. It may not be the most thrilling, but it certainly gets the...
you will do the 80% of your damage in vanilla by wand. And it's like so small damage. It's like choo. It's boring.
Job done. The big hurdle to get over early game on the priest is actually getting your hands on a wand though. It may be a class where you consider briefly taking enchanting before dropping it after you've made one. The priest has very solid progression throughout the leveling milestones, being not too far behind mage the whole way. On top of a consistent damage output, the priest also has a ton of defensive options. Between race-specific bonuses, heals, power word shield, dispels, and a fear, they may wear cloth armor, but they certainly make up for it through their toolkit. I rate priests up there as one of the better options for newer players that want to find success in the hardcore challenge. And even when things go wrong on the priest, they can take a serious amount of damage before they're actually really in trouble. The third strongest class to take on the hardcore challenge with is the Paladin. They have a respectable average level of 30.
One more time. It's like priest, but it's also in the heavy and the plate afterwards, so it's more protected, right? To be like, it's melee, right? Still, it's not like a priest, but you're so protected. You have all your skills, and it's so easy to play. Also, I liked when I played the paladin, and I played paladin for like till level 12 or 13. I liked it. It was the first time for me, but looks like it could be boring as well. I don't know.
13.8, and strong progression throughout the later leveling milestones. They are the 7th most popular class in hardcore according to the number of deaths logged, which isn't too surprising seeing as they are faction specific.
Yeah, they're faction specific. That's right. And if you like the lore of the paladin, it could be interesting to play, right? But the question is, the mage is only 4th, right, in the rank of popularity of the classes. Who is the first one?
The paladin being the strongest melee pick for the hardcore challenge really shouldn't come as a surprise. This class has amazing survivability tools, and a ton of them are picked up at a super early level. They get the likes of Lay on Hands, Divine Protection, Divine Shield, Dispels, Blessing of Freedom, Protection, and so much more. The Paladin's toolkit offers a way to get out of nearly any situation. You even get mail armor early and plate later, which counts as a nice extra bit of damage mitigation against physical attackers, which make up the bulk of enemies out in the world. You can even just sit there and heal with points put into the spell knockback talent in the Holy Tree. Paladins do get a bit of a reputation during leveling though. I guess in some ways they are the melee counterpart of the Priest, because you sure get a lot of use out of some good old-fashioned auto-attacking. It might not be the fastest class in the game to get from 1 to 60, but it being one of the safest is something that you can't really argue with.
Because it's boring.
And at the end of the day, that is what matters more in hardcore. Fourth on the power ranking.
I don't agree with that. It's not about to get to level 60, because after level 60, most of the cases, you will start the new character in hardcore. It's about the way, right?
The Druid, who are the 6th most popular class according to Death's log.
The Druid is the last class that I never played Druid, never. So I never played Hunter, Paladin, and Druid, and I tried Paladin a little bit. I tried Hunter, pretty much, like I like the class, but Druid, I never tried them.
Now this is a class where I think it's fairly easy to see why they are strong at taking on this challenge. Tons of mobility with shape-shifting, strong defensive options with bark skin and self-heal.
And variety. Like, if you want to be the healer, you will be the healer. If you want to be the tank, you will be the tank. If you want to be the rogue, you will be the rogue, right?
And so on. And the ability to easily reset.
That's cool if you like to run as a small cat without the gear and everything, which I'm not.
To fight and heal up through roots. The Druid is a little behind the Mage and Priest on average level, clocking in at 13.8. I will say with the earlier levels in this challenge being the most dangerous, the Druid is quite weak from 1 to 10 before you have access to Bear Form, but as the levels progress, the Druid really begins to power up. The point where you get Cat Form at 20 feels as though your damage output just suddenly doubles and really allows you to tear through mobs whilst healing up in between each one. And whilst Druids tend to get stuck as mainly healers during the end game of Classic WoW, the hardcore challenge allows you to really get a ton of value out of this very versatile class by flexing into a DPS, tank, or of course a healer when grouping. I do find that Druids tend to fall off a little bit.
I mean, now in our time, Druids are pretty fancy and popular, right? Like in Baldur's Gate 3 trailer.
Towards the later levels, but by that time you have reached the stage where you have your full toolkit unlocked, and you really have to go and seriously overpull to risk dying. I think the Druid is also a fairly good pick for newer players to the hardcore challenge. It teaches you the risk of the early levels, but it gives you big power spikes at levels 10 and 20 with shape-shifting forms. The Hunter finds itself at 5th on the power ranking in the hardcore challenge, and the 2nd most played class in this game mode. They have an average level.
Yeah, okay, 2nd most played. I can imagine why, because it's pretty safe to play as a hunter in hardcore, because you have a pet, it's tanking, you're just hitting, you have plenty of opportunities to run, you have fake death, right?
Level of 13.6, but fall short of hitting early.
I used to work 9 to 5, but what made me a millionaire?
Okay. What made him a millionaire? We don't know, but we know that we need the YouTube Premium, so please subscribe.
as levels 10 or 20 when compared to the other classes we have looked at. Probably
I mean, with the hunter it's simple. The level 10, when you will get first pet, the game changed completely.
quite surprising that it's taken this long to get to the hunter when they are seen as the go-to new player or easy mode class. So what gives? Well, I have done a hardcore hunter to 60, and I'm willing to bet there are two things that people have problems with before level 30. The first one is an over-reliance on your pet to do things for you. Eventually, you'll pull more stuff than you intended to, or your pet chases something that's running in fear and it ends up dying, which leaves you, the hunter, without a pet, having to deal with potentially several enemies. Now at level 12 you get wing clip to help with kiting, but often that is not good enough to get away, and that's because of the second problem, not training your melee weapon skill. Needing wing clip to hit with one weapon skill just is not gonna happen. Not only that, but when you're trying to get wing clip to hit, it's keeping the mob leashed and hitting you. And at the early game with only leather armor and no other defensives whatsoever, the hunter can be very vulnerable. Of course, at level 30 you get feign death. This is one of the best defensives in the entire game, bar none. It's just getting to 30 in the first place can be more challenging than what you would expect it to be. Still, it can be resisted, and the hunter really doesn't have a ton of other defensive options other than just wing clipping and running away if you don't have your pet available or its growl gets resisted. And it really only does take one bad feign death resist for everything to go terribly wrong. I think pet classes in general are a little bit of a bait for newer players when they aren't quite as guaranteed of a lifeline as they are in later versions of the game. In Classic, your pet is a big part of your power and your defensive options, and having an extra unit to control just, well, sometimes isn't very new player friendly. Scoring in at the 6th strongest class for the hardcore challenge is Rogue. They are the 3rd most played class in this game mode, with an average death level of 13.5 and decent progression through leveling milestones. Despite the Rogue being known for having tons of CC and utility, similar to some other classes you may have expected to have seen higher, they don't get many of them early game.
I mean, I started as a role. I mean, okay, I got it. The first one will be the warrior, because everybody loves to play the warrior in hardcore. And I can say to you the following: I played almost all classes in hardcore, not like early levels. So the warrior I played 3 times, I think, and warrior is the most fun class to. I don't know why. It's like it's just most fun class in hardcore, and. I don't know, man. What should I choose? Warrior or maybe shaman? Yeah, comment below what do you want me to play during the hardcore and what race?
I find that rogues are very squishy as you're forced to face tank damage
Yeah, please advise. What do you think, guys? Who I should to play in hardcore?
by the nature of how the class plays, and even underestimating one enemy can be fatal when playing a hardcore character. I think the class quests that rogues get are also particularly dangerous if you're going into them not knowing what could happen if things go wrong. On some of them you can get jumped by multiple mobs or have elites set on you, which at a low level can very easily be a visit back to your starter zone.
Yep.
Of course, once you pick up Vanish at level 22, your ability to overcome dangerous situations skyrockets. I definitely think rogues are a strong class for this challenge, but with low armor and a dependence on cooldowns for defensive,
Also, we will have the duel to the death, right? And official servers. And it could be really good content. I mean, it will be really fun, not just to do the hardcore, but to do the hardcore and doing these duels to the death. So maybe I also will consider whom I should play to do that. So warriors as well. I don't know about shamans. Warriors for sure. Rogues, mages. So for me, it's like warrior. I don't know. I like shamans or mage. What do you think? What do you think?
I can see why they are perhaps a little bit lower than you would have expected on this list. Which brings us to the unenviable bottom 3. In 7th place we have the Horde exclusive
Bottom 3. Okay.
Shaman. This class is also the least popular pick in the hardcore challenge by a huge margin. Again, much like the Paladin.
That's the case. Why I can't be the shaman? I mean, I like to be unique classes, and in dungeons, dungeons they don't care, right? But in raids, the shaman could be really
In
valuable.
lower representation shouldn't be a shocker, they're faction specific, but the next popular class in Priest tallied up about 5.3k deaths, whereas Shaman were just shy of 1.9k. Now the thing about the Shaman is they do have a good early game experience, with an average level of 14.6 and 18.2% of players making it to level 20. That is the highest average level of any class and a better chance to get to level 20 than a Hunter has.
Okay.
So why are they all the way down here then? I can only describe it as they fall off a cliff scaling wise as you level. It's as though you're playing an inverse hardcore character, where the early game is really powerful, but as you start to get to level 30 and beyond, Shaman doesn't feel as though it's keeping pace with the ever-increasing strength of mobs in the open world. Having leveled a Shaman in Classic, this is something which I found very noticeable. Perhaps though people are too stuck with the idea of playing Enhancement while leveling, and there is room to reroll Elemental once you're in the mid-level 40s. The big buttons you get while leveling on the Shaman being Enhancement are Wind Fury Weapon and Storm Strike, which are just okay, I suppose. I mean, it's no Feign Death, Vanish, Ice Block, Divine Shield, anything like that, is it? On top of that, your survivability is quite weak. You need to sink 7 points minimum into the enhancement tree to get Ghost Wolf down to a 1-second cast. You have several defensive totems, of course, like Grounding or Stoneclaw, and you have self-heals, but there isn't really a big button you can press and have some good amount of confidence it will save you. Oh, and you're wearing leather armor to level 40, which is just really not great. I mean, you can rock a shield as a shaman, which is fine and all, it just feels as though they take so much damage during leveling. I find that the shaman is a class where you really have to know your limits and not overplay your mana bar. At 8th on the ranking is Warrior, to absolutely no one's surprise. Warriors have a very well-deserved reputation for not being the greatest leveler. This class, however, is the most popular pick for the hardcore
Because it's fun. I mean, guys.
challenge, with over 15,000 deaths logged in total. It's clear people are up for the challenge the Warrior represents and are not shy from going again. Also, you know, we're playing vanilla here on Classic Era. The Warrior is the most popular class in vanilla. So many people main this class during 2019 Classic that you can hardly blame them for giving it a go on hardcore. They are, after all, without question, the best tank and DPS in the game. That will make you popular even if the class has problems leveling. Still, the average level of a Warrior is 13.4, but what's noticeable is during the later level milestones of the hardcore challenge, particularly 40 and beyond, the Warrior starts to improve compared to others. Though they do have a notoriously slow start, you can feel the scaling power of this class even during leveling, and if you can make it to the mid game with a solid weapon, you are set for a path towards a level cap. But as always, the early game is where the problems lie. Warriors have no innate healing, very limited CC, and few defensive options beyond throwing on the sword and board and praying that your passive mitigation kicks in. For what it's worth though, I think Warrior is one of the most fun classes to level if you can get past the early game.
That's the thing, I don't know why, but it's really fun to play. I mean, Rogue was also fun. I for some reason I tried Mage and I was so boring during level 10, so I switched to the Warrior. I don't know why.
Keeping Strikes and Whirlwind with a good two-hander just feels amazing to use. Warriors feel as though they are an expansion ahead in terms of class design. Still, for the hardcore challenge, they aren't easy. Which means, statistically, the hardest class to level in the hardcore challenge is none other than the Warlock. They are the 5th most popular class in the hardcore challenge.
How is it even possible with the pact of something with the demons? It's a bad, I mean, why?
And have quite literally near enough the worst stats in every single category possible. I mean, I was expecting to put Warrior last if I'm honest, but check this out. They have an average level of 12.4. That's an entire combat level lower than any other class. The next lowest is Warrior at 13.4. They are the only class in the...
Excuse me, ma'am.
Please subscribe.
They below 60% chance to get to level 10, and they're all the way down at 55.3%. They have a 12.5% chance to hit level 20. The next worst is Rogue at 15.6. They have the lowest chance to hit level 30, and then they are the joint lowest likely to hit 40 alongside the Shaman, and then Shamans manage to narrowly be worse at levels 50 and 60. It's not as though the Warlock is...
I mean, let's try to understand. Only 0.25% of all warriors hit the level 60, right? Okay. Okay. I need calculator. So we have 15,474 multiplied by 0.25. No. Shit, sorry. 15,474 multiply 0.0. Right? Yeah. 0.25. Okay, so it's like only 38 warriors from the 15,000 became the level 60. And for the warlock and for the shamans, oh man, 1,881 multiply 0.0007. One shaman get to the level 60. Oh shit. I mean, the statistic to go to level 60 is so low. That's cool. I like it. And yeah, like, and mages, what is about? Yeah, mages is a little bit higher than.
Is faction specific or underplayed, this class is just weirdly difficult, it seems, and I think there are a good number of reasons why. Your demon is nowhere near as good at tanking as a hunter pet is. You have a severe lack of defensive options beyond fear or sacrifice during the early game. Pet classes are also seen as new player friendly, and clearly this class is not new player friendly when it comes to taking on the hardcore challenge. I think players may also overestimate their strength when taking on multiple mobs. If enemies start hitting you as a warlock, you have demon armor for a bit of mitigation, and that is kind of it. Also, unlike warrior, warlocks are not seen as hard. They're meant to be easy, right? People know the warrior is a challenge. They go and make target dummies, they check vendors for potions, all of that kind of stuff.
But you have like many dots, right? So you just throw them to the mob or to the elite mob and just run. And it will be killed, right?
Warlock, you think, well, I've got Healthstone in my bag, I should be fine, and I'm a pet class, they're meant to be easy mode, right? Until something goes a very little bit wrong, and suddenly, it's time to go again. Either way, that's what the data shows, and I thought it would be interesting to go through it and see how classes are really doing in this challenge. Again, all this data is from the add-on Devlog, so check it out for yourself and see what conclusions you can draw. Were there any surprises in the video? Do you think there were reasons I should have put classes differently given the data set? Let me know below. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening in, and I'll see you all in the next one very soon.
Okay. Subscribe to this guy, because it's not only a video that I'm watching right now. He have like the series of video, so you want to be this class in hardcore, which is really useful and informative, with a bit of humor. This is a great guy, so please subscribe to him. The description below. Like this video, and what do you think, guys? What class should I play? What do you think will be interesting? I mean, warrior, mage, definitely. Shaman, after that, I mean, I don't want to. So warrior or mage, or maybe rogue. So what do you think, guys? What do you think I should play? And of course, this was PLK. It was nice to see you. Subscribe, like, and have a nice day. Bye.